following announcement has been paid for by the WZWA Network.
G'day everybody and welcome to the WZWA Network's review show here of NXT 2.0 from November 2nd here in 2021. I'm your host with the most on the West Coast, Karlifornia in Fury, alongside the host with the second most on the West Coast, Jooseyboy. How are you, my friend?
I am fantastic. Karlifornia, my friend. Another episode of NXT. Done and dusted. Lots to talk about. As usual, I'm just about ready to burst out of my salmon blazer with all the shit that we just saw on this latest edition of NXT. Wow.
Wow. Just wow, bro. This is the follow-up to Halloween Havoc last week. We're back in our regular civs, and that's code for civilian clothes. We're back in our civs, bro, and what a way to start the show, bro. What a way to start the show. Oh, yeah. This is the way you have to start the show every time. Mandy Rose, she comes out, bro. There's a little segment to start the show here. I'm going to let you take this, bro. What did you think of the opening segment with our NXT Women's Champion?
Well, you know, Mandy Rose came out, cut a promo. I think this is the promo that every wrestler needs where they arrive. You know, I think this promo here kind of signifies the beginnings of her becoming probably a much bigger star within the company. She's already had her little flashes of brilliance here and there. Obviously, she's got the NXT title now. She's come so far as a performer in the last few years, and you know, I think this promo just was the culmination of that, of how far she's come, and I'm really excited to see hopefully a really solid heel badass women's NXT champion. I'm excited for this run, Carl.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I first thing that I wrote was, for me, and I'm not saying this just because I'm extremely attracted to her. Okay, I'm not just saying that. I think she's doing the best work of her career. To me, she's actually the face of the brand to me now. And I've never said that about a female wrestler before, and that's not a knock on the female wrestlers, because there's always been a very strong male, you know, a Stone Cold Steve Austin, a John Cena, a Roman Reigns, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But on this particular brand, and again, not a knock on Tomasso, I feel like she's the face of the brand for me. So that is the first time, I think, in history that I felt that about a particular wrestling brand or company. I laughed that she can say bitch, but she had the words goddamn bleeped out. That was a bit weird. As she's cutting this great promo, she has arrived. She's the champion. She's talking about all of this stuff, and then we get a shot in the back, bro. Zoe Stark is getting attacked in the back by Toxic Attraction, my new favorite tag team. And of course, she talks a little bit more. And this is what I like, bro. When she's interrupted, she at least had 5 minutes to get a point across. Again, AEW needs to learn from this, in that every time that they have a confrontation where there's an interruption, it's always within about 20 seconds of the person talking. So this had a point to it, and the interruption made sense because a tag partner was attacked in the back. It's Io Shirai. She comes out. A brawl takes place between the two of them. Here come Toxic Attraction. It's a 3-on-1 beatdown. Man, I couldn't even tell who the other women were that came out to make the save. I know that one of the other tag teams. I should have done some research, but they made the save. I like the good babyface fire from the three of them to end the segment. Yeah. Do you have any further thoughts?
Well, obviously, I have to give my grading, man. Let's not fucking forget about that. You know, people tune in weekly just waiting to hear them grades. So
yeah.
No, but this whole segment was brilliantly done by all the ladies. I love the fact that a heel tag team beat someone down backstage, and then they were standing over him, like trash talking him. And it actually seems like, wow, a lot of these characters on NXT actually have some charisma and personality. And yeah, I'd give this whole thing a B+. I thought it was executed really well.
Okay, well, we're back. I'm not sure if all aware just then, but we had to pause the recording because Jooseyboy's Uber Eats arrived. I'm very disrespectful as far as I'm concerned.
I fucking told you about it before we even started recording that we were going to have to pause.
No, sorry. No. Okay. That's strike one, bro. Okay.
Strike
Got
one
2
of
strikes
what?
to go.
I'm not allowed to eat?
You'll find out. Yeah.
I can't eat?
Okay. This you've got to treat it like a business, bro. Okay. Right. Moving forward. Okay. I like the next segment in the show, bro. Yep, I'll take that. Toxic Attraction are pissed off. I love how this blended with the entrance of Dakota Kai. You know, they have that not confrontation, but you know, that face to face. You know, obviously Dakota helped Mandy beat Raquel on Halloween Havoc, so it is a nice way of blending it and also kind of like giving a nod to what happened and not forgetting about it. What did you think?
Well, yeah, all I want to add to that is that it's just nice to see that the individual feuds and storylines aren't happening in a vacuum, because so often on pro wrestling, and I'm talking across the board, not just WWE, a lot of times you'll have a bunch of wrestlers involved in a storyline, and then for however long the duration of that storyline may be, no one else exists on the roster except for those people. And it just so happens that the only people they're getting involved with on a week-to-week basis are the people that they're feuding with, even though they're all going to be there anyway because it's their job to be wrestlers, you know. That always frustrates me. I like to see, you know, A, this is a continuation onto a previously established story thread, but B, as well, it also shows that, hey, other people on the roster are looking at what's going on. They're watching the show. They're not just completely ignorant of it because they're not involved in that feud or storyline. They all understand that they all want to get to the main championships on the brand, and that's what they're all there for. And NXT definitely has a lot more of that feel of being interconnected. Like this is one big sports league where everybody's trying to be the best in it. Whereas I feel like that gets lost in AEW and on the main roster WWE shows all too often. So I'd give this a B- as well.
Yeah, good call, cunt. Moving forward.
Fuck you.
We get our first poker room segment of the show, and what do you know, bro? How difficult is that to have something thread through the show a few times? Please, bro, give me your thoughts on segment 1 of the poker room.
Oh my God, man. So by the time that this poker room segment came on, I was already starting to feel like, oof, I think we're in for a good episode here. Like this is starting to shape up to be a solid ep. And then as you remember, the first poker room segment came on, that was kind of setting the scene for what this was going to be, which was obviously going to be a high stakes poker game between Duke and Cameron Grimes in Duke's poker room. This first segment just kind of set that up. It introduced Cameron Grimes. It established that there's a bunch of lovely young ladies, which, by the way, shout out to them. They all looked gorgeous and very classy sitting there in the background there. Very nice human set dressing that they performed in that role. But they had a little bit more of a significant role as well, because these women throughout were kind of moving back and forth between each person's side of the table and kind of showing their favor. Like this wasn't just a poker game. This was also going to be for bragging rights, the attention of all the beautiful young ladies that were in there, etc. And this first segment did a great job of setting that up. I remember as we were watching it, I was saying, oh, because I started to think, oh, it's going on a bit too long. I hope they don't just show this whole 10-minute pre-tape all in one. I thought that would be a mistake. They didn't do that. Thank God. This first poker room segment, I would give this like a C+. I thought it was a really good way to establish it. And yeah, this got me even more invested in what I already knew was probably going to be an entertaining segment because it had Cameron Grimes in it.
Why a C+? Why not a B-? What's holding it back from getting over the line for a B-?
Because I just felt like it was just a hair below the quality of the following poker room segments.
It's like bullshit.
This one was more about sort of establishing the scene rather than actually doing a lot of material. So I felt
that's
what?
It's like Meltzer being like, yeah, I'd give that like a 4.25 stars. Like, why a 2.5? What?
You asked me a question.
Yeah,
everything can't be a fucking B minus, man. It wasn't a B minus. All right.
You know what, bro? Strike two. Okay.
They're my ratings.
Yeah.
You know what, Karlifornia. Right now, I'm thinking about giving you a C minus. I'm getting upset at you now.
All right, that's 2.5 strikes, bro. All right.
All right.
Yeah, I liked it. I thought Cameron Grimes was funny. I loved his annoying laughter. I love the reference. I'm not sure if you picked up on it, bro, but he said, "You got 21, I got 22." That was very good. The Heroes of Wrestling reference, Jake the Snake Roberts' promo before the match, and you can see our watch along of that match here on the WZWA Network. And of course, to be continued. Okay, let's not forget Dakota Kai has made her entrance. Corey Jade is her opponent. Coming out with her little, I don't even know what that is. It's a tiny skateboard.
Is it a mini board? Like, I'm not sure. It's going to make me look like an old fogey, but I'm not sure what the term is. So
I'm not up to date with these kids these days with all these fandangle things.
With all these fandangled new devices. Yeah, so someone who can tell us the technical name for that transportation device, hit us up on Twitter at Jooseyboy, at Karlifornia WZWA, or on the YouTube. Let us know. Thank you.
These young kids today with their Instabook and their Facegram and
like in their face space.
Whatever happened to MSN Messenger, bro? Well, whatever happened to that? All right. I'm gonna take this one. Okay, so Cora Jade makes her entrance. Dakota Kai knocks her the fuck out. Foregone conclusion, bro. I don't let AEW get away with it, and I'm not going to let NXT get away with it, but there's some real purpose here to show off the mean streak. So it's okay in this instance. I didn't like after the match with the referee waving off and just standing fucking 10 meters away.
It looked a little awkward, didn't it?
Placing a table on Cora, going up to the ring apron like she's going to do a stomp, and the referee's still waving it off like, hey, if you don't want that to happen, grab the table and move it out the way and get in the way.
Yeah.
If you want to protect her. And if not, Dakota should have hit her, but then she didn't end up doing the spot anyway. But I don't like it when the referee's just standing there waving it off for like fucking 40 seconds. Like, do something about it. So because she didn't complete the spot or whatever, no, she shouldn't have hit the ref, but I was thinking you should hit the ref if you do the spot. Anyway, your turn, bro. Cora Jade versus Dakota Kai.
Well, the match itself was serviceable. I'd have to give the match probably a C+ again. It was, a very passable, very adequate little match. It was there to serve a purpose. So, it's not that I'm not appreciating the match. It's just that the actual content of the match wasn't as important as the outcome of the match in this case, because it was purely designed to get Dakota Kai over, which I think it did, establishing her. She's obviously just coming straight off a return last week. The segment after the match, I mean, you summed up a lot of it there yourself, bro. I agree with what you thought, but there was a number of problems with this. Number one, most people know that referees also their duty is to protect the wrestlers from people from the crowd that try to jump in if it comes to it. All kinds of different situations. The referees are actually like the first people there on the front lines that are going to be calling the emergency services or the paramedics into the ring, taking care of things if things go wrong, making sure things run smoothly because they're communicating with both the people in the ring and the people in production. They play a crucial role. So there's no reason why a referee in a fictional context here should just be completely helpless and doing nothing. I don't like that. It's not that I need them to blur that line between reality and fiction too much, because nobody likes seeing an injury. It's kind of a grisly, kind of uncomfortable thing. So you don't want to make it too real. But referees in reality, their job is crucially important, and they actually, it takes a special kind of person to actually be a referee in WWE in that high pressure environment. So I feel like the refs within storyline on TV should be a bit more assertive, and she should have got in there and tried to at least pull her off of there or get into her face or move the table. So that's the first thing. The referee, it just wasn't consistent with what referees really should behave like. Number two, the overall length of this segment just went on for too long. She put the table on her head, and she seemed to drag this hesitation period out for what felt like 4 minutes. It probably wasn't, but it just felt like it dragged on for too long, and it was almost becoming awkward, as in like, what the fuck is going on? Like, it just kind of was dragging on just a little too long past that point where you're kind of going like, what's happening? Like, and then ultimately she decides not to do it. She's on the verge of snapping. That's the storyline that they were trying to tell, but they could have been more efficient with it. This is unfortunately going to get a D+ from me.
Yep. Okay, cool. And I'm going to give Cora Jade's bum an A+. So there we have it. And it's okay that I say that because I have a nice bum, and I like when people compliment my bum. So there we go.
It is
Up
nice.
next.
It is nice.
Thank you, bro. Well, mine or hers? Never mind. No, Robert Stone, bro. Our boy Robert Stone, the former Robbie E. He got a little promo on I wrote the Kiwi kid because I just can't remember some of these names. It's Quinn.
Yeah, Xyon Quinn, yeah.
But after he's made this little promo, he's going to be in the ring in a second, but then there's an MSK promo at a bus stop. So there's not really much to say about the first Robert Stone promo because it's just leading to something else. But the MSK promo at the bus stop, what did you think of that?
I actually found myself chuckling quite a bit. It was obvious that these guys were reading their lines, that were written down for them. Contrary to what some people today might believe, even the vignettes that were pre-taped, like the little movies that introduce the characters before they come to TV, oftentimes back in the day, the talents would improvise a lot of that stuff and just work off of bullet points. So the whole thing of promos being too scripted applies both to vignettes and to live in-ring or backstage promos. Having said that, though, these guys looked like they were having an absolute ball with the material. They clearly have nice chemistry together. Like, I feel like they're actually mates, like, behind the scenes. Like, I feel like they probably get along all right. Like, it feels like a genuine kind of friendship, like a bromance between these two. That chemistry carried this segment for me. It was kind of like really obnoxious the way that they launch into the story about how the guy got his the name MSK, like the unseen leader of this MSK group that they were referring to. They start to launch into the story, and then the bus drives past, and it takes ages to actually go past. It stops in front of them, and then after a while it goes away again. And by that point they're finishing the story, and it's obviously the audience hasn't been able to hear any of that. So I thought that was a nice little touch, a little bit of comedy. Then at the end they were like, oh shit, I think that might have been our boss. Like, these guys are dopes. And then one of them got on the other one's back for a piggyback ride, and off they went. And I was left chuckling and going, how the fuck were these two ever NXT champions? But I mean that in a positive way. So we've often, and I'll try not to go on to one of my legendary rants here, but
no, you're already on one, bro.
Oh, okay then. Well, I might, when in Rome. So, no, we've talked in the past though, bro, about how wrestling still needs some semblance of seriousness to it. Like, these guys have to be like, this is who I am. This is my job. It's how I make my living. I'm a professional wrestler. And then paradoxically, somewhat, we also say that we enjoy comedy and we enjoy silliness. Here's the thing. This is an example of silliness, but it was done well, and it was done within context. These guys don't act that silly in that same way when they're in the ring for a match. When they're in the ring for a match, they're about the wrestling match and they're there for business. But this is a vignette that was outside of the show that was just focused on the two of them. So some silliness and some levity is quite welcome here, excuse me, because that's part of their character and part of their personas on the show. So that's what we talk about when we say that, you know, yes, there's a lot of cringe comedy in wrestling and WWE fails a lot of the time, but there's also stuff that works, and it's when it's placed, put in the right place on the show, and when the talent is enjoying what they're doing. And usually they enjoy the things that most fit with the characters that they're trying to portray. So when it works, it works. When it doesn't work, it doesn't. I'd probably give this thing a B-.
Cool, bro. And for the usage of the word paradoxically and for the burp, I am now upgrading your strikes to 2.75 strikes. Thank you.
Why can't I use paradoxically?
How dare you belch during this recording? Okay. Very rude, very, very rude. Thank you.
I'm drinking a large Coke. What is it?
It was my plan to be on your this whole review, okay, bro? I want to do it.
It'd be more pleasant if there was a fucking cactus on my hole right now.
Okay, language. I said cunt earlier. All right, bro.
All right, fuck, Rick.
Yeah, this was fun. Moving on, Xyon Quinn makes his entrance. Robert Stone is already in the ring. Great on the mic, setting this segment up so well. They're both going to sing a song. This is ridiculous. This is all built on Robert Stone being put through a table last week as he was dressed as Elvis. So I'm liking where this is headed. Robert Stone, he starts singing. I wrote down, ha, 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 that was terrible, but amazing. You could see Xyon Quinn, he almost cracked. You could tell he was very close to. Xyon Quinn then starts singing Shawn Michaels' theme song, and I just wrote, ha, 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 what is going on? And then it spills into a fight. The bell is rung. The match proceeds. Quinn makes short work of Robert Stone. Love Robert Stone, and now I care about the Xyon Quinn character. I was impressed with his in-ring debut a few weeks ago. Now I really like the character. I'm interested to see where he goes, and he showed that he has a bit of showmanship in himself, and he's not just going to be another one of these kind of like Islander kind of wrestlers who's like a savage kind of thing. He has some range. So that's what that's the point I wanted to make there. Bro, what did you think of this? This was pretty cool.
Yeah. Coming off the back of my rant about the previous segment, another example of like some funniness, some comedy done well and performed by the right talents for that material. Robert Stone comes out. He last week, of course, if you know people that have been tuning into our reviews weekly would know, Robert Stone last week was dressed as Elvis. Ended up getting chokeslammed through a table by Xyon Quinn. It was hilarious. It was one of our favorite highlights of Halloween Havoc. Coming off of that this week, Robert Stone, as Carl just alluded to, pissed off, wants his revenge on Xyon Quinn. Right from the beginning, you know that he's going to get the piss kicked out of him. You know that immediately as a fan. It's an example of, I don't know, Carl, what would you consider like the positive equivalent to a foregone conclusion? Something that you know it's happening, but you're supposed to know that it's happening.
Sometimes it's good for it to be kind of like, you know, what's going to happen. But at the same time, what they filled this out with, we didn't see any of that coming. Yeah. So you knew what the finish was going to be, but what I guess the meat of the whole segment
was the journey, not the destination.
That's it, bro.
And so immediately he starts going on. He's cutting this promo about how great he is and everything like that. And the entire time, we were just sitting there, Karlifornia, and just thinking, why the fuck was this guy not signed by WWE 10, 12 years ago? I mean, he was great as Robbie E in TNA. He was one of the highlights of TNA. He was a homegrown TNA talent at the time. Well, not homegrown, but that's where he kind of, made most of his bones. And yeah, he's always been fantastic. And it is so awesome to see a guy like that that's worked hard, 15, 20 years in the business, to finally now be getting the opportunity to show what he a lot of people have already known that he can do, and he's knocking it out of the park. Wow. Hilarious little outfit, obnoxious fucking haircut. He starts cutting this promo. It's pretty good heel heat. The crowd really enjoyed booing him, and you know, he was getting genuine heel heat. The crowd wasn't trying to hijack the segment from him or anything. Xyon eventually comes out. Robert Stone says they're going to have a singing contest, as he said. He did terribly. And then, of course, at the end, acted as though it was the greatest performance that had ever been given. You know, yeah, so you covered most of that. Obviously, Xyon ended up doing Shawn Michaels' theme and the charisma and stuff. You know, clearly he was the favorite, as was supposed to happen. But then the icing on the cake, bro, was when they actually did get to Robert Stone getting his ass kicked by Xyon Quinn, was that I still managed to pop hard for everything they did in that. Like, even though I knew that this beatdown was coming as a result of all these shenanigans, I still loved the beatdown. It was like, yes! Fucking Xyon got to show off some of his power, his good-looking physique. Robert Stone bumping around like a champ, maximizing his time on TV. You know, a lot of people, they're not just going to remember Xyon Quinn and be like, man, that guy's really got something, which they are going to come away from that thinking. They're also going to be thinking, man, that Robert Stone, what a goof, man. He got the crap kicked out of him. That's what a good heel does. He helped get Xyon Quinn over, obviously a much more experienced wrestler than Xyon Quinn. He went above and beyond helping get this guy over in this segment, and he managed to get himself over as well. That is what Juicy Boy calls an A+ segment, brother.
Is that getting a Juicy Boy recommendation?
And you know what, man? Yes, it is. That is getting a Juicy Boy recommendation. Go out of your way to check this out.
Wow. Excellent, bro. We move forward. Joe Gacy with a promo. There's nothing much to it. It's just keeping him relevant on the show, despite the fact he's not actually going to be performing on the show. Not really much to add there. Shall we move on?
Yeah, it was fun.
We have Lash Legend backstage. She appears to have the horn for Xyon Quinn as he's walking backstage. That's good. I like it. I like flirtation. I like seeing people flirt. I like seeing good-looking people flirt with each other. Good stuff.
Honestly, man.
Also popped for the LWO style shirts.
Oh.
Yes, bro.
Yeah, just that point that you said, man. I know it's another one of my cutoffs, but man, there's a lot of sexual tension on this show, isn't there, bro? Like it's all over it, you know. And they do a very good. Like, when I say sexual tension, I don't just mean it looks like everyone wants to bang everyone else on the show, but there's definitely this tension in the air between the male performers and the female performers, and between all the performers. There's not only this like rivalry tension between the wrestlers, but there's also kind of like romantic tension in some places, you know, and that adds to the overall feel of this show. So I'm sorry, bro, but I just thought that was a good point. Wanted to elaborate on that a little bit.
No, it's good. It's good. And, you know, that kind of thing, it's good for wrestling fans to see stuff like that, because we all know that they don't really experience that in real life. So O'Reilly, Wagner, Von Wagner, taking on Legado del Phantasma. Hell of a name for a team. What did you think of this tag team contest, bro?
Dude, you know what? I'm impressed with Von Wagner, man. Like, when we first saw him, I thought, all right, this guy's got, you know, he seems like a nice kid, and he's obviously got some size, but he looks a bit bland. And, you know, I just didn't think like he was going to set the world on fire. But to be honest with you, I feel like Von Wagner's charisma comes flowing out of him when he's in the ring wrestling. Maybe it's not as much there when he's entering or when he's doing a promo in the back, but I feel it when he's wrestling. It's in his facial expressions and his selling and his ferocity when he executes moves. It's there. You know, he can improve on the promo and the mic stuff later on, but he has that raw charisma when he's in the ring. And you know, I think that's worth commenting on. I thought this was a good little tag match, you know. I thought this was good. I'm not sure. I said when we were watching it that I would have preferred if Von Wagner and Kyle O'Reilly had actually won the match, but now like since we've actually watched the show in the little bit of time before we did this review, like now I kind of think it was a good move to not have them win just yet, because it was clear that they've had a miscommunication. Von Wagner's been rolled up. Him and Kyle O'Reilly aren't happy about it. It didn't look like they were angry at each other, though. It looked like they were just pissed off at the situation in general.
They were disappointed.
Yeah. Is this going to evolve, though, into more mistakes? Or is it going to be a galvanizing force that brings them together stronger as a tag team? We're going to see that in the future. This is why basic, simple, professional wrestling works, and why you don't need to complicate and convolute everything that you do. Sometimes simple is best, and this was one of those examples. A-.
Excellent, bro. Yes, it's true to life. They're a new tag team. They're going to go through some growing pains, and eventually they're going to get that chemistry, and they'll get those victories. It's telling a story of two people slowly but surely going to find their chemistry instead of them just already somehow being an amazing tag team. I'm sure, I think that's nice storytelling. And you know what? I wrote at the beginning of this foregone conclusion, I thought O'Reilly and Wagner were going to win.
Yeah.
As the match wore on, I wrote to myself, I think I'm bored of tag team wrestling. But then Von Wagner came in with a fucking awesome hot tag, hitting a lot of big-time maneuvers. The match was soured a little bit with picture-in-picture, and I stopped paying attention to the match whilst that was happening. But when we came back, what do you know, Legado del Phantasma got the win. I was shocked, and I thought to myself, well, I'll just shut my big mouth then, writing down foregone conclusion. Now I know sometimes they're gonna get me, like when Cora Jade beat Frankie Monet a few weeks ago. So that's good, keeping us on our toes. Well done, NXT 2.0. Right, moving forward, bro. Carmelo Hayes and Trick getting interviewed by the saucy minx, Mackenzie, and, they got a bit of verbiage in. There was a quick interruption, but it wasn't by somebody that wanted to challenge them or start an issue out of the blue. It was Andre Chase, following up on last week, how they found each other in the haunted house, and Andre and Hayes and Trick really had a nice little chat. They gave him the Iggy on the fact that people have been calling him a coward because of it. And he got very mad about that, which is ridiculous. And I just want to say, I hate the word coward. It's so overused in wrestling, but it's okay in this instance. I'll let this one slide because I kind of got a kick out of how mad it made Andre. Because if it were me, I'd be like, fucking whatever. You fucking go into a haunted house then. What did you think?
I mean, Andre Chase has been brilliant so far, since we've been watching for this review series. Former cameraman for Ring of Honor, come a long way. Once again, I like the fact that this issue with Andre Chase, was started by two characters that are not directly involved in the issue. It's just that Andre happened to run into these two other wrestlers, who he had also interacted with the previous week in the haunted house, and he happened to find out that people have been calling him a coward. That then launches Andre Chase onto his journey throughout the rest of this episode. Again, brilliant. Things aren't happening in a vacuum. It's all interconnected. Makes the entire world of the show feel more full and realized. So I wanted to comment on that. The promo itself, fucking A- for the whole segment. It was just brilliant. Andre Chase, wow. I mean, he's definitely got some charisma as well.
Yep, cool, bro. And I will be updating your strikes now to a 2.85 for mispronouncing his name and calling him Andre Trace. It's very disrespectful to mispronounce his name, bro. So 2.85 strikes now for Jooseyboy. Moving forward, the poker room, bro. We're back in the poker room.
All right.
Grimes killing it. Grimes flirting up a storm with the ladies. And he's finding a little bit of success here as we're moving forward. What did you think of our second installment of the poker room tonight?
Oh, fantastic once again, man. Just like, I love the fact, because I expected Duke to sort of have the upper hand when they started playing poker. I love the fact that Grimes just turns out to be an adept poker player, or like not an adept one, but just an idiot savant at the poker table. And, you know, I loved that when we cut back for the second segment, there was now a couple of ladies standing on Cameron Grimes' side, where previously they were only standing on the Duke side of the table. Cameron Grimes is winning. He's being hilarious. Duke played this off so well. You can just imagine what a classy, sort of suave guy like that, how pissed off a person like that would be at this yokel, this country rube, like coming in and beating him in his own poker club. So as this is going on, yes, it's funny. It's a little bit silly, and, you know, you're having a bit of a chuckle at it, but there's actually tension being built here for a future match. You're getting, you know, the tension across the table where, man, these guys are about to come to blows any second, you know? So it's fun, and it's also effectively building an issue between these two wrestlers. So yeah, I mean, like a B+ effort here for this segment. You know, tremendous work.
Excellent, bro. Moving forward, I don't have anything to add there. Moving forward, Andre Chase is still in a very bad mood. He throws out a challenge to anyone who wants to fight. And it's the nephew of the big bad Buddha Daddy, Bron Breakker. He's fat. Okay. Your thoughts on this nice foregone conclusion?
Loved it. Again, amazing. Andre Chase, much like what we discussed earlier on. Oh, sorry, got a little tickle in my throat. Sorry, yeah, this was another example of Andre Chase went out there as the heel. He knew that he was going to get his ass kicked. He made the most of his time and did his job expertly. It was brilliant. It goes back to the Robert Stone and Xyon Quinn segment / match earlier. This was similar in that it served a purpose here in this case to get Bron Breakker, you know, even more over and give him another win after his loss last week. But even though it was there to serve a purpose, God, Andre Chase made the most out of it. I mean, his facial expressions were brilliant. His work on the mic was brilliant. Just the bumps that he was taking, the height that he was getting for the Beal throw and the suplexes. And, you know, this was perfectly executed as well. You couldn't have asked for it to be done any better. A+ segment again.
Lovely. It's great because, you know, like Bron Breakker just suffered his first loss. So what do you got to do? You got to get him back over as that dominant guy that he's going to be something someday. I can't wait to see what comes from him in the future. Hopefully by the time he makes it to the main roster, they figure out how to fucking write the show. And they don't fuck it up and they don't push him to the top too soon. They let him have that nice journey, bro. You know, you start off slow. Eventually you build yourself up. You might become the Intercontinental Champion after about maybe 18 months. And then you build up even more and you might win the tag titles with someone. And then like 3-4 years into it, then you start getting him up there into the upper echelon in that upper mid-card area with great feuds with people. Before maybe 6-7 years into it, okay, he's done all of this. He's got all these accolades. He wins the Royal Rumble. He's gone to WrestleMania, whatever. I want them to take their time with a guy like this. I don't want them to make the same mistake that they did with someone like Roman Reigns, where before the age of 40, he's already a multi-time world champion, and he's probably got like 15 years left in him. And it's like, well, what else does he have to achieve? It's like Sheamus. A month in, he was world champion. What does he have left to achieve? You know, they have these younger guys, and it's fine having a younger guy get to that spot. Like Rock was 28 when he won the WWF Championship. But Rock already went through a whole plethora of shit before he got there because he started a bit younger. But they didn't blow their load too soon on all of this stuff that you can, if you just wait and take your time for that journey, You know, I know I'm not going on a rant on something completely different to the show, but I just think it's important to say something like that. You know, you got to plan for the future, and you got to think of what content do we need to fill for the next 7 or 8 years. Well, we got this fucking amazing performer right here who's going to be something one day. He's already great on the mic, fantastic in the ring. Don't blow your load too early. Anyway, I thought the finish was sick. I'm loving the finishing move. I'm not sure if that'll be something that he can take to the main roster. I don't know if he'll be able to hit that on someone like Brock, but hopefully they can start getting over, maybe bringing in the Steiner recliner and all that. Breaker's great on the microphone afterward. He makes it clear that he still wants a shot at the championship. And I wrote, you know, I want Bron versus Brock at like WrestleMania 40 or something like that. I'd be keen. Okay, moving forward, bro. Speaking of flirtation, sexual, you know, tension, Imperium have an interview, right?
Oh my God, I love
and that sexual tension at first is just coming from you, because I was watching this with you, toward Imperium. So that was the first sexual tension I noticed.
I do have a man crush on Imperium. I haven't tried to hide it. They're handsome European gentlemen, and you know, like if I swung that way, like if I swung for that team, I wouldn't have a chance with them. No, but go ahead, bro.
They're doing their, you know, their shtick, talking in their native tongue. Fucking love it, bro. Toxic attraction. They interrupt for a bit of a flirt. I like it. And, hot people like hot people. Okay.
Exactly. And so they I've got to cut in. I can't.
Fine.
So yeah, they say Toxic Attraction comes up to Imperium. They say, you guys need to check out our match next week, and they reply, oh, I think we will. Like, and then back to their native languages again in the subtitles. They say, you know, hey, like the mat is sacred, but America has its perks, don't you think? Like that was a great line. These guys have just gone up a notch in my book. I already knew they were fantastic in the ring, but now we can see, like, English speakers or not, man, they understand the idea of charisma and having a bit of humor and stuff like that.
Yeah, and you know, what do you know, bro? The men and women can cross paths on the show. That's something that I always hated about the main roster, was like, you've got all of these ladies and all of these guys, and they never like mix. Yeah. And it's ridiculous. You would think that somehow there will be alliances formed between some of the men and the women. It doesn't always have to be a male stable and a female stable. You know, these things can happen. So yeah. I liked it, and I can't wait to see what happens next. Moving forward, bro, Lashing Out with Lash Legend and Tony. Hey, T, how you doing, Tom? Hey, T. Hey, how you fucking doing, Tom?
How the fuck you doing, Tom? Pass me over some of that gabagool over here.
You're gonna eat that fucking cannoli, huh?
Fucking
Tony
manja.
D'Angelo.
We got loads of brajol in the fridge. All right.
Tony D'Angelo, this is a fantastic segment. I hated it at the beginning, bro. I hated it. I hated the bit where she was talking about stuff that happened last week, because I don't know, I just didn't like it. But as soon as Tony got involved, this is where it kicked into high gear, and I loved it. They bring on Mark, the producer of Lashing Out. I love that Tony's strong-arming him. He knows the name of his wife. He knows he's got a tire swing out the front of the house. He knows that he's got kids and what their names are, and that they should be very proud of their father. This is, we love The Sopranos, bro. You and I, we love The Sopranos. So this is perfect. This character is perfect. I love him. What did you think, bro?
I mean, there were so many things that were well done about this. I mean, Lash as well. I thought she did brilliant for her part in this. She didn't get overshadowed in her own segment throughout this. So I just want to point that out. She was looking good. She's kind of making a fan out of me because she's just a sassy bitch, and I like her confidence and her charisma. And, you know, so I thought she did well as well. But the actual Tony D'Angelo thing, I like that they've built this up over several weeks. I like that Lash confronted him over the way that he weaseled his way in. And then the thing I like the most about this is, yes, he's got this producer of lashing out that he's strong-armed, and we saw him, he had the guy in the trunk of his car a couple of weeks ago, and now we're seeing, as Carl said, that Tony's like vetted and scoped out this guy's whole life, and so he's obviously threatening this guy. And yeah, it was funny. It was kind of played for a bit of comedy because Tony D'Angelo, because he's a wrestler. But there was this ominous kind of like sense of malevolence underneath it, where it was like this producer guy was scared. So at the same time, once again, we're able to have fun with this segment and enjoy it for what it is, face value. But underneath, there's this danger about it, where like, man, if this guy is willing to kidnap this producer just to get a spot on this show, how crazy is this motherfucker? And then the icing on the cake to this whole thing, bro, was Tony actually cutting the interview short that he's been asking for several weeks because he's got to make another meeting, and like looking at his obviously phony Rolex and then leaving this poor shaking producer to question his existence. A minus, man. Like, again, another brilliant segment, really well done by all involved. They don't need to do lashing out with Lash Legend every week. I would rather that they do it every 5 or 6 weeks and save it for when they've got some good material like they did on this episode.
Yeah, cool, bro. I need you to pause there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm having... Okay, bro, moving forward, Solo Sikoa is out next for his foregone conclusion. Necessary, it's his first in-ring matchup. I can't remember the name of the guy he wrestled. It was Rama or something Rama.
They basically did just refer to him as Rama. He does have
okay,
last
well,
name,
we'll just...
but they only mentioned it about once. I'll look it up just for... You go ahead and I'll look it up while you're talking.
Okay, well, he's against this guy called Rama, who I thought looked like he was fresh off the Tour de France with that outfit, the shoes and the outfit. Not sure if I was a fan of it, but then again, I don't know who he is. I don't know if he's just like one of their, like a Malik Blade, I suppose. He's just there to kind of put people over. But it was the first time I saw him, and I liked I liked his shit, bro. He did some good shit. The splash off the top at the end looked like he was floating in the air, just like Umaga, his, I guess, uncle, right? Yeah, it would be his uncle. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this destruction of wrestling's Lance Armstrong. So what did you think, bro?
Yeah, so the opponent's name is Jeet Rama. He's a Indian amateur wrestling talent that was scouted and signed back in like 2015. He's only really done NXT live events. He hasn't had that much experience on TV. And he's only just started to have a few TV matches recently. But his job has mostly been as an enhancement talent while he's been training and stuff like that. So that's his background. I don't really have much else to add to what you said. I'd probably give this whole thing a C+. And I'd like to say that this should have just been the debut of this character. Instead of having instead of having him awkwardly come out last week and I don't know what they were thinking, but that whole thing just felt like it had no steam to it. There was no heat to it. It just felt flat. It was just off. There was just something off about it.
I like to call it potato soup, bro. That was a potato soup segment last week.
Well, it was like a potato soup segment with a side of flour, like plain flour.
Yeah, it's like they got a 10-year-old to, you know what? No, a 7-year-old to come up with a segment.
Yeah, with their action figures, and then they just tried to like act it out for real.
What we'll do is we'll have these guys come out, and then this guy comes out and beats them up. This guy comes out, beats him up. It's English. It's an English kid.
So yeah, this match that we saw here, decent match. It should have been the debut of this character, not the segment last week.
Rating.
I gave it a C+.
Okay, sorry. A lot of things getting a C+ tonight, bro.
No, there wasn't. There's only been 2 things.
No, I think maybe 4 or 5 things.
No, I think only 2.
You might need to look over your think over your system.
Well, you're not even fucking listening, apparently.
Yeah, I told you. All right.
Flawed, bitch.
Okay, that's rude. Okay, that's now you're at 2.9 for the strike system. But you know what? I'll drop it back to a 2.8 because you checked out what the name of that guy was. So 2.8. Let's see if you can get to 3 by the end of it, and then I'll get my car and come over there and you'll know what it's really like. Okay.
No, you won't. You won't be bothered doing that.
I'm 5 beers deep, bro. Okay. We have a little thing backstage. The freaky chick. Is it Mia Yim? Is that her name? Am I thinking of someone else?
I think you're thinking
the freaky chick. What's her name? She's with that Boa dude.
Yeah. God, I don't know. I didn't catch the name either. I was kind of trying to pay attention to the segment, but
Zia Lee? No. Fuck me dead, bro. We'll figure this out, ladies and gentlemen. And DJ, you're back to up to a 2.9 because you didn't do the search for me, and I had to do it myself. So.
Well, you already started. Fuck you. All right. So while he's
yeah, it is Zia Lee. So I was correct. I was correct. So 2.95 for not picking up on my mistake. Okay. So she's there in a little chair in a locker room. He buggers off. All of a sudden, LA Knight is on commentary because Grayson Waller's going to have a match. There's a feud that's begun because of last week's Double Dracula shenanigans. It's Boa and Waller. What did you think of all of this, my friend Jooseyboy?
I thought this was a fun match as well. You know, I was actually surprised that Boa won the match. I was kind of expecting Grayson Waller to get the win. While LA Knight was out there at the commentary desk, but he didn't. I kind of liked being surprised. It was nice to see Boa get a win. I feel like they are going to turn Grayson Waller full-fledged babyface any week now. You know, it's happening. It is going to happen. Whether it's time to or not, I don't know, but it's clearly going to happen. That much is for sure. I'm excited to see where this feud between Waller and LA Knight goes, and I'd give the match itself probably a B- again, bro. You know, this was a really solid show. Like,
I noticed that you hesitated on that rating. Because I feel like this was a C+ segment.
Really?
So yeah, so interesting that. Kind of feel like it was a C+, bro. So.
Really, the first time you've ever done like a letter rating for any segment at all, and it just so happens.
Well, you've been given everything else a C+ on this show, bro. So I thought the C+ segment would have got a C+, but now it's a B-.
No, I decide what's a C+ and a B- and a B+. You don't decide. I decide.
Yeah, right. Very good stuff. I didn't really have anything else to add there. Okay, there was a vignette that took place. I didn't like this. I don't know why. I just didn't like it. It's Josh Briggs and Brooks Jensen.
Yeah.
These two names that these guys have. It's so NXT. It's so okay. It's like when South Park made fun of Family Guy, and you know the sea cow picks the jokes. It's just like, yeah, we'll just grab this name out of this hat and this name. Oh, his name's going to be Josh Briggs. Oh, he's going to be Brooks Jensen. Anyway, I didn't like the vignette. I don't know why.
No, you know what it was, bro? I know what it was, because I was thinking it the whole time. All right, these two are supposed to be a tag team, yet it keeps cutting back and forth between them so that they can complete each other's sentences in this vignette. But both of them are in totally different locations, doing totally different things. like each member of the tag team has their own individual scene within the vignette that it keeps cutting back and forth between. And I think they were trying to be cool and kind of do something cutting edge with the way that they were doing it. Do 2 vignettes from different locations for each member of a tag team in the one package. It didn't work because by the time it became evident that what was happening, we were already a bit confused and weren't really fully invested in it. So I totally agree. This didn't really work. It's nothing against either of the 2 guys, but this just really left me scratching my head, and I'm giving this a D-. It was my least favorite segment on the show.
Me too. Glad someone else noticed. Moving forward, bro, Poker Room number 3. The final segment for the Poker Room here with Duke Hudson and Cameron Grimes. Grimes bluffs his way to victory here, and he's going to buy drinks for everybody. That's nice end to the segment. Hopefully he finds love on the way as well, bro. What did you think of the final installment of the Poker Room?
Oh, man, the final installment was the best. It comes down to this huge high-stakes hand of poker. Cameron Grimes has a couple of women on his side of the table at this point. Duke looks like he's about ready to take back over again and like he's going to ultimately win because it's his poker room. Boom. They reveal their cards. Cameron Grimes has Duke's aces beat with a full house comprised of 2s, which sends Duke into a rage. Cameron Grimes has won all the money, hit the jackpot, won the poker game. You know, the girls are loving it. They're all laughing and cheering for him. He's having a party. Duke's flipping over his own poker table and skitzing out. They're setting up for a match between these 2. And guess what? I'm excited to see it because of how well they did these vignettes. A+ for this final segment of the Poker Room. And it's another DJ recommendation.
Excellent, bro. It's good that it went from a C+ up to an A+. Very good. And I think that Duke would have won this if his name was Tony Modra. And look, man, the problem with this
dynamic name, you know, like it's just
the problem for Duke, bro, is you know you got to know when to hold him, you got to know when to fold him, you got to know when to walk away. Don't take this away from me. You got to know when to run. You know, you never count your money when you're sitting at the table. You know, and then there's another line, and then there's when the dealing's done.
And there'll be time enough for counting when the dealing's done.
Oh, there'll be time enough for counting. Okay, of course, because you don't count it at the table. You got to do it afterward because there'll be time for it. Okay, cool.
You never count your money when you.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We're not asking for karaoke here. Okay, bro. All right. Let's move forward. Loved it, by the way. Loved the segment. Very good stuff. Ciampa heading to the ring, and then they cut away. How hard is that? How hard is it to just go, okay, well, we'll film this for 10 seconds, filling the show, showing that there's other areas of the building. AEW, are you paying attention? Are you paying attention? Because this is stuff you can do. It takes a second, and it just makes the whole universe that you've got there more interesting, much more interesting. There's a Kaylee Ray promo with that sexy accent of hers. She's destroying stuff in that room again. Love it. Thoughts?
Yeah, she's speaking in that sexy Scottish accent.
I'm from fucking Scotland.
I'm from fucking Scotland, and I'm Kaylee Ray, and I'm a fucking crazy bitch.
William fucking Wallace.
No, so we saw the first of these segments last week. We liked it then. I liked it again here. She said that in this second vignette here, she said that next week she will be at the show and that she's ready to rage. I like this. These were short. These were sweet. They're not going to spend 7 or 8 weeks fucking around with these. She's actually going to be at the show next week. Boom. Let's see what she does. This has been effectively built. I'm invested in Kaylee Ray, and I'd probably give this vignette a C-. It was all right, but I preferred the previous weeks a bit more over this one.
Shame we didn't get a C+.
Because I've given so many C+ out for this review.
You're so scared to give something else a C+, bro. You're frightened. You don't know what's going to happen because you're at 2.9 strikes, bro. Okay. The next bit on the show, the freaky chick, Zia Lee is missing, but as Boa walks into the room, who knows what that's going to lead to? We'll have to wait and find out next week. Hopefully he catches up with her during the week and it doesn't lead to anything bad happening. Let's get to the final segment of the show, bro. Tomasso Ciampa, he comes out for his promo. I'm taking this, and then I'll let you finish off, okay?
Yeah, you take
good promo. I didn't really know much about him beforehand, you know. But I'd like this guy now. I'm sold. I'm sold. I'm sold. I'm sold. Carmelo interrupts. There's a bit of a back and forth promo there. Carmelo makes a point, and I like that Trick was hooting. Like, oh, I like that, and I think they should keep doing that. I think Carmelo should come in with a burn, and then Trick should always hoot afterwards. And then there should be a time where Carmelo tries another burn down the road, but it's not really that good, and Trick kind of half does the hoot and then scrunches his face up. I can see stuff like that happening.
Yeah.
Okay, the segment ends with Trick getting smacked around, and then we're getting ready for our main event as Johnny Gargano comes out, and there's a little stare down with him and Tomasso.
Yeah.
And of course, and it's Dexter Lumis and Gargano. It's the first time I'm seeing Dexter perform in the ring. Gargano, maybe the second time I've seen him perform against Trick and Mello. Really liked the slingshot spear. There's not many moves on the show that I wanted to give a call out for, but that one by Gargano, I thought that was very cool. I was zoning out a little bit during this match. I don't know. I just think I'm having a hard time lately getting invested in tag team matches. I don't know what it is. Hopefully it can be rectified down the line. But anyway, Mello and Trick get the win. They needed the win. They actually really needed the win. They're a fresh act. And this will lead to something down the line, I'm sure. But yes, I didn't really get into the match. Not a fault of the wrestlers. It was a good match, but I just wasn't that invested. Bro, take it away. The main event of the evening, Dexter Lumis, Johnny Gargano, Trick and Mello.
Yeah, I kind of felt the same way as you. I sort of felt like this was not bad, but that it was just kind of there. I think both teams were tremendous. I actually think that Gargano and Lumis worked quite well together as a team. Lumis has put on a bunch of size, and he's improved significantly in the ring since the last time I saw him. He seems so comfortable in his character, and I love the fact that he embodies the character when he wrestles. The match itself, even though I couldn't really get it, just didn't really feel like it had that much heat to it for me. And it felt like the picture-in-picture went on forever. And there was some really good stuff that was happening during the picture-in-picture, which that always sucks me out of it a bit, which is not fair to the wrestlers, but we've got to judge this based on our experience watching it, not on what we wish that it had been. So unfortunately, that took a little bit away from the match, but it heated up at the end. I love the fact that Big Dexter was the star of the finish of this match, ended up getting the pin. Beautiful side effect finishing move. You know, that picked things up a notch for me by the end. And I'm going to give this Carl's least favorite rating of C+.
You're in a C+, are you?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. All right. I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah.
I'll keep that in mind. Okay, bro. Give me your rating out of 10 for the November 2nd edition of NXT 2.0.
I'm going to give this episode of NXT a 7 out of 10. I felt like it was outstanding in some parts, and it was better than possible overall, but probably not quite as good as Halloween Havoc from last week.
Yeah. I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10. I like the show. Wasn't offended by much at all. But Jooseyboy, that's the end of the review. And you know, the cheek of you to give another C+ after I called you out on it.
They're my ratings. I can rate whatever I want.
Cheek.
You
The
don't
cheek.
own the you don't
So,
own the alphabet.
Okay, right, that's it. Ladies and gentlemen, we will see you down the road because unfortunately for Juicy Boy, I'm not sure if we'll be seeing him down the road because that's strike 3. I'll see you next time.
Oh yeah, bring it on.
Go get you, Juicy Boy.